Hello, and welcome to The Lab, a Minecraft podcast where we explore, experiment, and theorize about all things Minecraft.
I am Minor Thoughts, the real Minor Thoughts, and with me is the real Troj, my brother from down under, my co-host. How are you doing?
Well, that was an interesting start to proceedings for today, I must say. Wasn't expecting that when you sent them through on Discord earlier.
So AI has come a long way since we last talked about it.
It must have been over a couple of years since we spoke about it. Cubsy on as a guest.
Yes.
And it's been such a monumental jumping from where it was then, when we were raising some concerns about it in terms of content creation, to what it's doing now. Insane to think about.
Right. And the two clips that you saw in the intro were made in a matter of minutes. All I did was put in a prompt, tell it what to say. That's what it spit out. But apparently it does not like to do Australian accents, and I was getting frustrated. I used the Google Gemini VO3, and you're only allowed so many prompts a day, so I'd have to wait till the following day to try and get it to sound like an Australian.
I mean, the second one looks like me a bit, I guess. But yeah, the voice, no. But it's funny though, I tried during the week. I was here in the office and you see those pop-ups on Facebook through or whatever, and it's like, oh, I'm going to try something here. I can't sing or diddly squat, and chat on Twitch is always saying, sing Troj, and because we do song redeems now, so it adds, with channel redemption points, adds songs to my playlist. And there's certain songs that come on, everyone has their songs that they just comes on and you don't even think about it, you just start singing it. There's a few of those on the playlist now, and I'll catch myself starting to sing on stream. It's like, nah. One of these, you can sound like a singer. And I thought, maybe I can scam chat, I can get this done and then I'll play that and then they'll be happy. It doesn't work. My voice is so bad, not even AI can help. I thought it was worth discussing again, though, because it has come so far, and it's really playing a part in content creation these days. We'll talk about Minecraft side of it in a little bit, but you look at some of the things that come through, like the Yeti blogs and other similar things that are starting to pop up. That's all done by AI in relatively short time, and they're going absolutely viral. And it's just like, is the magic of content creation, is the creativity of it disappearing? Because you put a few prompts into ChatGPT, you take that and you put it into the generator, then you take that out of, there's another program I was watching. When I knew we were going to talk about this, I started, I Googled, how do you do the Yeti blog? And there's 3 programs that you need to do it, to have it look consistent and whatever. And it's like, in an hour, you can spit out a week's worth of shorts like that.
Yeah.
And you haven't had to think of a thing.
Yeah, I had done another one. It worked in creative, and
that was hilarious. Honestly, that was good. So I'm going to play that clip now.
It worked in creative.
Right, welcome back. How long did it take you to do that?
Well, you only get so many per day, unless you're paying through the nose to get unlimited. But I just did the free trial and took a couple days. I'm telling it, no, I want you to have it wear bib overalls. And it still didn't, AI is still, even though it's gotten a lot better, it's still, you have to be specific, and it still didn't get it right, from that clip. But yeah, couple prompts, telling it what to do.
But when you say a couple of days, that's because you were limited by the amount of attempts that you had. Yeah. Otherwise, you could have done that in how much real time?
Minutes.
And that's the thing, is some of the things, people out there, and good luck, smart to them, they're turning out content that's going viral and going super popular in a fraction of the time that the likes of, say, Mr. Beast have done, who built up over such a long period of time and whatnot. Is the magic of content creation disappearing? Is the art of it disappearing.
Those are exactly what they are. They're viral. They're going to get their 15 minutes of fame, and they'll move on to something else.
But the 15 minutes of fame, though, is costing them a mere minute of production.
Yeah.
It's not like that, like literally, like the video that I watched, which was something that I basically Googled and watched the first video that popped up on how to make the Yeti board.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google it. You'll find it. If you haven't seen it, I'd be surprised. Literally, it doesn't take any brain power to do it. ChatGPT gives you the lines. It gives you basically, these videos said, take the link for this video, put it into ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT to analyze it and give me 10 ideas similar to it, including script. And then it's like, now script it. Script was done. Yeah. And then it's just take those prompts, put it into VO3 or whatever it was, and hallelujah. There you go. Viral sensation. Yeah. And frankly, if even at 15 minutes of fame, with it getting monetized, that sort of stuff so quickly, and getting the millions and millions of views of getting, I'd take that 15 minutes of fame and go, thank you, I'm done.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen them. There's another one I found was Stormtrooper vlogs. And I mean, it's like straight out of Star Wars, but it's all like, vlogs, like handheld cam. They're talking about their day as a stormtrooper.
Yeah, the one I saw of that, the first one I saw of that was then they'd stolen Vader's helmet. It was running away. But like, there's a lot of negative pushback against AI generated stuff from certain segments. Like there's some that embrace it, and there's some that obviously use it, and then there's some that watch it because they may not even realize that it's AI generated. But there is a certain segment that push it back against it. With our tabletop RPG podcast that we do, Tales from the Interrealms, I'm not an artist, and when we were doing our playtest for Blades in 68, the logo background image that I got was AI generated, just for the logo that goes onto the Spotify and that podcast. If you're listening to this one, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's a thumbnail, but it's a little square one, tiny little thing that goes on those platforms. And I needed it quickly for episode 1, so I got something generated. I thought it was pretty good in the style that I need, and then I did the artwork of the lettering and the numbers. And so I put that up on Blue Sky, where that's where I focus most of the roleplay stuff. And the smashing that I got in comments about using AI generated art was insane, to the point where I took the post down. There is a lot of people out there that don't like it. And I think it stems from the ethical side, is that it's taking away from real artists. And I get that. I understand that. And, it goes from artwork, it goes into video production now, music. We went through a period of time that we were just playing around. We didn't ever release it. But, you showed me a music generator thing. And I started going, Blades in 68, that playtest, I started making songs. And probably within an hour or two, I sunk too much time into it. I had like 3 or 4 songs that were actually not bad. And the one that I posted in our group chat for Blades in 68, like I think even the Bearded Bard, your son goes, why does this go so hard? Because it was actually pretty damn good, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I understand why there's pushback from the community, because real artists that have spent years and years, and even content creators, years and years fighting their way to get discovered, are just being buried and buried and buried now under computer stuff.
I see that a lot, especially on Blue Sky. It seems like, at one point, Twitter X was the place to connect with other creators.
I think it still is.
And but I think it's more, I see on Blue Sky more of a creator sphere. So, and there is that feeling that, especially with creators, that, AI is all evil, and there are companies that they don't allow it. There are Discords that it's like, do not post, because, it's just, that's the feeling, taking away from actual creators that are trying to make a living selling their content, monetizing. But I still feel the same way I did back in the first, that I still use it as tools for inspiration. And I think that's the one thing that people don't talk about, is, how it can be a tool for inspiration. Because My thing is I can think of ideas. I'm trying to write here we go about tabletop. I'm trying to write my own scenario for Delta Green. And the ideas are up here. But to flesh it out and make it sound, well crafted, I just don't know how to put that down on paper. And I use, I've used to give me how to articulate myself better, how to get my ideas that are coming from here. I put it in as a prompt, and then it kind of expands on it and gives me a way I'll take that and then I'll rework it, to make it my own. It's a tool for inspiration.
I think every technology or every tool that's ever been created or ever been invented, from the printing press, the internet, to right through now, when used correctly and rightly in the manner in which it probably should be used, is useful and helpful in so many ways. I use ChatGPT in my business when I do like a business proposal or like a potential new client or something. I'll put it on there and just get it thought, and is there any way to tighten this up to make this sound better? Is there any loopholes in terms and conditions, stuff like that? Now, I would never do it. I would never use it to give myself a legal basis, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper for me to run it through that and look through it with myself than what I had to do back in the old days when I was a GM of a different company, not my own, get the legal team to go through it. And I've got a small business, so it's saving me money doing that. Not that I'd say it's ironclad and whatever, but at least it's giving us a second set of eyes that's probably got a lot more backing on it than what I've got. But again, that's not content creation, though. I'm not sitting here making content using AI-generated stuff. At the moment, I'm talking about the roleplay stuff because that's really where most of my focus is going. I don't use it a great deal for the Blades in the Dark campaign at all.
Yeah, that's all you.
That's 98% out of here, and then my writing and whatever. Where I have used it, though, is when I've been unsure about the Blades in the Dark setting. And when I've Googled it, or I've tried to find it in the book, I can't. So I'll go and say, this is my idea. How does this fit into this thing? And then it'll sort of spit out how it would fit in the world that was created. And then I go, okay, there's a keyword. So then I'll go to the book and I'll look that up and go from there. But again, that's using it as a tool to assist, not using it to create. Now, the other thing, this is not really AI as such, but I think it's getting there. When we had that discussion, now we're coming into Minecraft. When we had the discussion last time, I raised the concern of at what point do we get where we get mods and programs out there that say, I want this made in Minecraft, and there it is. And then you just go and build it. And everyone, and I think I said at the time, I haven't listened to that episode before this. I meant to, but I didn't. But, once upon a time, you had the B-dubs and the scars and pearlescent moons and that were and are genuine artists when it comes to Minecraft, by far. Those three are up here. Everyone else, daylight second, sort of. But you're getting to the point with Axiom, the mod Axiom, almost anybody can be churning out builds that look like that. Now, it's not AI because you're not putting in prompts. I'm building a mountain at the moment, and I used Axiom to do it. I had a chat with Cobble K. We mentioned Cobble a lot on this platform. And if you haven't checked her out, please do. She uses Axiom a lot, and she's like the goat of Axiom. And if you have a look at her latest build she done at the time of recording, which is a little dragon sitting on a bookshelf. And when I say little, I mean this build is gigantic. If you watch her short of her building it, Axiom itself can't... Well, I've got two thoughts on it. One is Axiom is making it very easy to build something like that if you know how to use the tool. If you don't know how to use the tool, you can't do that, what she did. But on the flip side of it, this is why I'm torn on it. On the flip side, could she do that without Axiom? Now, Cobble is a fantastic builder, and I don't take this right. Cobble, if you're listening, don't take it the wrong way. I think Cobble probably could do that without Axiom after an extensive amount of time. But my question is, on very surface level, could she do it as well, as fast as what she's churning out builds at the moment using Axiom? Now, I'll speak for myself with the mountain that I've built. It was insanely easy. It was very easy to get the shape using Axiom. It was like, whoa, within 20 minutes, I basically went to, because Cobble was helping me on the side. Like, how do I do this? How do I do this? Within maybe 20 minutes, I had a shape there. I sent a picture to Cobble. She goes, have you done that already? I went, yeah. Where the long time came for me was actually getting the painting of the mountain done. So it looked nice. That took a long, long, long time. The actual design, the shape of it is me. No way I could have done that. It's my first mountain without using Axiom to have it look that good. And it does raise for me a concern within myself. Okay, I couldn't have done that standalone Troj, sitting there with just blocks and creative mode and build this. No way could I have done that. So am I an imposter? Am I a fake?
I don't think so. Again, like with AI, it can be a tool. It can be a way to speed up your workflow, a way to get your ideas down on paper, so to speak, faster. And the thing about Axiom is Mulberry is constantly updating, and a lot of the tools that I've seen implemented in Axiom are coming almost straight from like Photoshop by Adobe. And it's funny because Adobe Photoshop is using generative AI as one of those tools within the program. It's probably been already asked by Mulberry, or if you ever watch this, maybe already thought of it. Could I put in a script into Axiom that you could say, design a mountain, and it just bleh, and it will spit something out.
That's where I was going to. And that's my concern. Because the magic of content creation, Minecraft, like, you see a short getting built. And it's like, has this person actually created this? Like, you and I, very early on in our podcast, we sort of ripped into people taking other people's builds. Because we had someone that we knew was doing that. And we sort of went, well, that's not right. You know, we knew this person was taking builds and taking credit for them. And in their comment section, oh, you're such a great builder. And it's like, well, actually, that website over there. And not giving credit for it. Like, there's nothing wrong with using someone else's builds as long as you're giving credit to the person. Even if you're using it as inspiration, say this is the inspiration for, but this person wasn't. But now we're getting to the point is it on the same sphere as if Axiom or any other mod eventually gets to that point? And this is the first concern we had 12, 18 months ago when we first done the AI chat. We are getting very close to that point where AI, you're going to be able to, it's going to spit you out a build.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it'd be naive to say that will never happen because someone's working on it. I'll guarantee it. For the longest time, again, I only speak about me. I'd look at a B-dubs build and go, like, what that guy does is insane. And it is. What comes out of his head and how he does that is just incredible. Like, he's an artist. But you're going to get it to a point where he's being either matched or surpassed by people doing something in 5 minutes using AI.
I keep thinking back to how before we had AI, someone walks through art gallery, that painting, a bunch of different paintings. It's inspired and pulls a little bit from each of those paintings, makes something. You know, it still came out of his head and he's inspired, but it's still part this and part that and part. Doesn't AI do the same thing?
Yes, but for me, the difference is that person has still gone and physically done it with his own hands or her hands. Still had to be an artist to pull it off. Me, I couldn't go look at the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, and a Van Gogh, and then go off to an art studio and recreate it or make something that's going to sell for millions of dollars. I couldn't do that because I don't have the skill set. But I can if I didn't have AI. And I think that's the problem with it is...
Yeah.
Like, with the mountain, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome going on here. And that's why I'm struggling actually to finish it. Because it's like, you've seen it. It looks damn good. It really does. But the shape of it, I can't really sit there and say I created that shape.
But did you? You sculpted it, right?
I did, using Axiom.
Okay.
But I couldn't have done that without that tool.
Yeah, but that's a tool. I see kind of where we're going with this. It's really going to take you listening, our audience, to get in the comments, express your views. I still see Axiom as a tool, and AI can be a tool also. But with AI, the only thing you're doing is giving it the prompt to get you're giving it thought. It's doing all the work, all the heavy lifting. Whereas you're right, with a painting, you still have to do all the brush strokes. It may be inspired from these different things, but yeah, you have to physically do the heavy lifting. So with your mountain, you still did a lot of the heavy lifting. You sculpted it, you painted it.
But I know deep down that there's no way I could have done something like that without Axiom. Where I'm sort of drawing the line, I guess, is I'm not going to it and saying, give me a mountain that looks like this, that has this properties based on these photos, and it spat it out. Like, it wasn't at that level. But I think we'll get to a point in terms of Minecraft creation, we are at that point where that's probably not far away. And then you got to start sitting there and wondering, well, anybody can do it. So does the art and the magic of it disappear? Does it diminish the B-dubs and the pearls and all that, what they do? You know, does it make them less special in the grand? Like, that's a bad way to type that. They're of course, they're very special and exceptional, but someone that doesn't know better looks at a pearlescent moon build and an AI generated build and go, it's comparable. Does that make them then less special? Using inverted commas, quote marks, air quotes, for those that can't see. You know, to me, I don't know. I think it does in the wrong way. It takes away from that magic. Like, even when Cobble and I were talking about the mountain and all that, she said to me, now that I'd started using it, she goes, do you think that it's a bit cheaty? I said, yes. If you're using it to its full potential, it definitely feels... And if you watch her, like, I would say Cobble's an expert, well, as close to an expert that I've seen using Axiom. She's painting, she's drawing, like, it's like she's drawing it. And that was the one thing that I thought, well, okay, the way she's using it is fine, because it's not cheaty, because she's using it like she is physically drawing it herself. Mm-hmm. She's got to do what Cobble does with that dragon. You've got to have some sort of artistic flair. I don't think me with no artistic flair could go on and paint, sculpt, whatever, a dragon on a bookshelf like she did.
Right.
You've got to have that innate ability. And that's why Axiom is not AI, but I wanted to sort of touch on it because I think it's getting towards that point where we're going to get the prompts to build it, and then you are going to get someone like my son DTG could go on, put in a prompt and get a build, potentially something on the level of Cobble.
Well, I mean, you can kind of already do that in a way. If you were to tell ChatGPT, modern ChatGPT, I want dragon on a bookshelf and make it a miniature model, like an STL file. You can take that file, put it into Block Blender, which is a Minecraft add-on data pack or something. Put it into Block Blender, and it will take that model, convert it into blocks. All the work is done for you. Whereas Cobble, she had to sculpt and draw and paint and, do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's so hard for me. Like, I keep flip-flopping between, is Axiom cheaty or is it just a tool? Is it cheaty or is it just a tool? Use the way Cobble does is, again, she's got that innate artistic flair. So that's why I'm saying with her, without Axiom, she could probably go and do that after a lot more time without Axiom. I think she's got the ability to do that. But again, where I'm more coming from is you get these natural talents like the Cobbles and the various, hermits and what that have got built this craft up over a period of time. Their work diminished and made look to be less special because you're getting to a point where AI is coming along and going, we can do that just as well. And I think that ties back to why artists and musicians are getting annoyed, because they're fighting hard and AI is coming along and sort of replacing them in very, very limited time frame.
Yeah, and I don't know if we touched on this last time, but another problem with the AI is legitimate creators, musicians, writers, whatever, are putting out legitimate work, and people are looking at that and saying, that's AI. And they're like, no, this is original. I did this.
Yep.
I worked hard at this.
That Scar had that problem a few months ago. He put out a new line of jelly merch, and people were ripping in saying, why did you not use a real artist? Why did you use AI generated art? And he goes, actually, that's the artist. And the artist had to go, no, look, that's original. I think now we're moving back away here from, I guess, a little bit away from Minecraft now. I think there's two big problems with AI generated stuff. Is one, it's making people, as you just said, look at legitimate pieces of art and legitimate writing and all that and go, it's AI. You didn't come up with that yourself. You're a fraud. The other part is we're creating a society that can't think. We're getting to a point where people, it's too easy to have a machine think for you. So we're losing creativity. As technology has evolved, if you look back over the last, say, 100 years, we're losing the ability to farm, we're losing the ability to manufacture, to create, to build. We can't build anywhere near as good as what we could decoratively build, 100, 200, 300 years ago. Those buildings were works of art. Now we just get blocks of glass and metal. Now we're getting to a point where our ability to think and be creative is taken away. This chat GPT, and not necessarily that one, but like just through AI itself. Every tool that's ever been made has the potential to be used in the wrong way and used for harm. I think where we're heading with AI at the moment is it's taking away people's ability to think, making people question everything. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing. But in terms of content creation, it's taking away, I feel it's starting to take away from the magic.
Personally, I was excited for it at first, seeing all these new things come out, and I like to follow like new developments and things, mess around with different things like the videos you saw, little clips in the beginning of this video. At the same time, there is maybe a little bit of a guilt for using it or abusing it. So, I just want to use it as a tool. Maybe just slight inspiration when, I have a brain block and the idea is there, but I don't know how to articulate it. So, but it's a double-edged sword.
I would really, 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 really love to have other thoughts on this, because I think this is a topic that's going to divide people down the middle. You're going to see very extreme thoughts on it. I'd love to hear some more. I really would like. And particularly in terms of Minecraft, when it comes to Axiom, what's people's feeling on that? Forgetting about for a moment if it goes too far with putting AI prompts in, I think that where do people feel where Axiom is right at this moment? I'd love to get their thoughts. How would they do that?
You can reach us on the Discord, the Interrealms Discord. Always people chatty within the Discord, and we can discuss these topics and more at any time. You can reach us at the email at minecraftlab@gmail.com. Send us a private message there. Express concerns, questions, anything you want. Or if you want to talk to us, reach us on the socials at Twitter X, MCLab_podcast. And then over on Blue Sky at LabMC Podcast. And let's talk about it. You can comment down here in the YouTube video if you want and respond, and we may even bring all these things up in a feedback episode. It may be a feedback episode dedicated just to this subject. We really want to know what's your concerns, voice your ideas, how you feel about AI, how you feel about Minecraft mods such as Axiom. We've talked about Lightmatica and others that are they cheating or do they just help us?
But no, interesting chat. See, Lightmatica I don't think falls into this category because it's just placing blocks that you've already got. It is a full-on tool. It's not creating something. Axiom, starting to get to the point where it's creating. So, but let's see what everyone else thinks.
Yes.
Let's see.
This has been a production of the Interrealms Podcast Network. For more information, go to podcast.interrealmssmp.com. You can see that full link in the description of this episode. Thank you for listening.